A legacy in learning charting the course of UK schools. The story of education in the United Kingdom is one of profound transformation and enduring tradition. From the earliest days of monastic instruction to the bustling, technology-infused classrooms of today, UK schools have continually evolved to meet the changing needs of society. This journey is not just about buildings and curricula, it's about the people, the policies and the philosophies that have shaped generations of learners. The UK education system boasts a rich and complex history, a tapestry woven from centuries of change and adaptation. Each era brought its own challenges and innovations, from the strict discipline of Victorian classrooms to the progressive educational reforms of the 20th century. The evolution of UK schools is a reflection of broader societal shifts, including industrialisation, war, and the digital revolution. From humble beginnings in monastic orders to the technology-driven classrooms of today, the journey of UK schools reflects broader societal shifts and evolving ideas about the purpose of education. Monastic schools laid the groundwork, focusing on religious instruction and classical studies. Over time, the curriculum expanded to include a broader range of subjects, reflecting the changing needs of society and the economy. This essay explores the remarkable evolution of UK schools, highlighting key milestones and transformations that have shaped the educational landscape we know today. We will delve into the significant periods of change, such as the introduction of compulsory education in the late 19th century, which marked a turning point in making education accessible to all children, regardless of their social background. From the establishment of early grammar schools to the sweeping reforms of the Victorian era, each period has left an indelible mark on the structure, curriculum, and ethos of UK education. The Victorian era in particular was a time of significant change, with the introduction of new subjects, teaching methods, and the expansion of educational opportunities for girls and working-class children. We will delve into the architectural transformations of school buildings, tracing the shift from austere Victorian designs to modern, light-filled learning spaces. The architecture of schools has always been a reflection of educational philosophies, with Victorian schools designed to impose discipline and order, while modern schools emphasize openness, flexibility, and the integration of technology. The evolving roles of teachers, the growing emphasis on inclusivity, and the shift from charity-based to state-funded education will also be explored. Teachers have always been at the heart of education, and their roles have evolved from strict disciplinarians to facilitators of learning. The move towards inclusivity has seen schools become more diverse and supportive environments, catering to the needs of all students. Finally, we will examine the integration of technology in modern classrooms, from interactive whiteboards to virtual reality tools, and consider the implications for the future of learning. Technology has transformed the way we teach and learn, making education more interactive, engaging, and accessible. The future of UK schools will undoubtedly continue to be shaped by technological advancements, preparing students for a rapidly changing world. This exploration of the past serves as a valuable lens through which to understand the present and envision the future of UK schools as they continue to adapt and evolve in response to the ever-changing needs of society. By looking back at the journey of UK education, we can appreciate the progress made and the challenges that lie ahead, ensuring that future generations receive the best possible education. Seeds of knowledge, monasteries, and the dawn of grammar schools. These institutions were the bedrock of early education in the UK, playing a pivotal role in the preservation and dissemination of knowledge. The roots of formal education in the UK can be traced back to monasteries, which served as centres of learning during the Middle Ages. Monasteries were not just places of worship, but also hubs of intellectual activity. Monks, dedicated to scholarship and preservation of knowledge, taught Latin, religious texts, and basic literacy skills, primarily to boys intending to join the clergy. These lessons were often conducted in dimly lit rooms, filled with the scent of old parchment and ink. These monastic schools, while limited in scope, laid the groundwork for the development of more structured educational institutions. The monks' commitment to education ensured that even in times of turmoil, knowledge was safeguarded and passed down through generations. The emergence of grammar schools in the 12th century marked a significant step in the evolution of UK education. These schools began to offer a more diverse curriculum, moving beyond the religious focus of monastic education. These schools, often supported by wealthy patrons or guilds, provided a more comprehensive curriculum that included Latin grammar, literature, and rhetoric. The support from patrons ensured that these institutions had the resources needed to thrive. Grammar schools were initially accessible only to boys from privileged backgrounds, reinforcing social hierarchies of the time. The exclusivity of these schools meant that education was a privilege reserved for the few. Despite their exclusivity, grammar schools represented a growing recognition of the importance of education beyond religious instruction. They began to emphasize the value of a well-rounded education that prepared students for various roles in society. The curriculum focused on classical languages and literature, aimed to cultivate well-rounded individuals equipped for civic leadership and intellectual pursuits. This focus on classical education laid the foundation for the liberal arts education that would follow in later centuries. These early institutions established a foundation upon which subsequent educational reforms and expansions would be built. The legacy of monastic and grammar schools can still be seen today in the structure and values of modern education systems. As we look back at the history of education, it is clear that the seeds planted by these early institutions have grown into the diverse and dynamic educational landscape we see today. The journey from monastic schools to modern classrooms is a testament to the enduring value of knowledge and learning. The Victorian shift education in the age of industry. This period was marked by a significant transformation in the way education was perceived and delivered. The rapid changes in society necessitated a new approach to schooling, one that could cater to the demands of an industrialized world. The Victorian era witnessed a period of unprecedented social and economic change in the UK, driven by rapid industrialization and urbanization. Factories sprang up, cities expanded, and the population grew at an astonishing rate. This era of progress and innovation brought about new challenges and opportunities, fundamentally altering the fabric of society. These transformations had a profound impact on education, as the demand for a skilled workforce fueled a push for greater access to schooling. Education was no longer a privilege reserved for the elite. It became a necessity for the masses. Schools began to emerge in both urban and rural areas, aiming to equip children with the knowledge and skills required for the new industrial age. The 1870 Education Act, a landmark piece of legislation, aimed to address the growing need for mass education. This act was a pivotal moment in the history of British education, as it laid the groundwork for a system that would eventually provide universal access to schooling. The act mandated the establishment of elementary schools across the country, ensuring that every child had the opportunity to receive an education. This act led to the establishment of state-funded elementary schools, making education compulsory for children aged 5 to 10. For the first time, education was seen as a right rather than a privilege. The state took on the responsibility of ensuring that all children, regardless of their social or economic background, had access to schooling. This was a significant step towards creating a more equitable society. The Victorian emphasis on discipline and moral instruction is evident in the standardized curriculum and strict classroom management of the time. Schools were not just places of learning, they were institutions that aimed to shape the character and values of young minds. The curriculum was designed to instill a sense of duty, respect for authority, and a strong work ethic, reflecting the societal norms and expectations of the industrial age. Schools instilled values of hard work, obedience, and social responsibility, reflecting the societal norms of the industrial age. The education system was geared toward producing disciplined and industrious citizens who could contribute to the nation's economic growth. The focus was not just on academic learning, but also on developing practical skills and moral virtues. The Industrial Revolution also fueled the growth of technical schools and institutions offering vocational training. These schools provided specialized education that was directly relevant to the needs of the industrial economy. Students were trained in various trades and crafts, preparing them for employment in factories, workshops, and other industrial settings. These institutions provided practical skills and knowledge necessary for employment in factories and industries, reflecting the evolving needs of the workforce. The focus was on hands-on training and real-world applications, ensuring that students were well prepared for the demands of the job market. This approach to education was a departure from the traditional academic model, emphasizing the importance of practical experience and technical proficiency. The Victorian era, therefore, marked a turning point in UK education, laying the foundation for a more inclusive and skills-based system. The changes introduced during this period had a lasting impact, shaping the future of education in the UK and beyond. The emphasis on accessibility, practicality, and moral instruction set the stage for the development of a modern education system that continues to evolve to this day. Bricks and mortar, the evolving face of school buildings. The architecture of school buildings provides a tangible reflection of evolving educational philosophies and societal priorities. Victorian schoolhouses, with their high ceilings, large windows, and often austere design, embodied the era's emphasis on discipline and order. Classrooms were typically arranged in rows, reinforcing a teacher-centric model of instruction. As the 20th century progressed, school architecture began to embrace more open and flexible designs. The rise of progressive education, which emphasized collaboration and student-centered learning, influenced the incorporation of movable furniture, breakout spaces, and dedicated areas for art, music, and practical subjects. Modern school buildings increasingly prioritize sustainability, incorporating natural light, energy-efficient systems, and green spaces. The use of technology is also transforming school design, with classrooms equipped with interactive whiteboards, multimedia projectors, and flexible learning spaces that can be adapted to suit different teaching styles and student needs.